Hi, I'm Greg. I'm the lead singer for Lipstick.
I'm Steve. I'm the bassist.
And welcome to a very special episode of the Lipstick Panel.
A very special episode.
We are talking about smashes, thrashes, and hits, but we didn't feel like doing a full ranking for this episode because it's just two new songs. Why would we do a full ranking?
So it's really smash and thrash.
Well,
and no hits.
Well, I mean, I guess we could have, added in the Eric Carr version of Beth and ranked the three.
A smash, a thrash, and a hit?
Yes, as it were. So we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about Let's Put the Ets in Sex, You Make Me Rock Hard, and, let's talk about the Eric Carr version of Beth. Sure, why not? Steve, what do you think of Eric's voice?
He sounded very much like Peter Criss in that song.
Yeah.
Almost as if they did that on purpose.
Yeah, Eric Carr, good singing voice. Should they have let him sing some songs on the albums previously?
Maybe.
All right, well, that's our comments on the Eric Carr version of Beth.
The hit.
Let's move into the two new songs. So we'll do this in order of Steve's personal ranking. Steve, which did you like better?
You know what? I'm going to say I liked Let's Put the X in Sex better.
All right, so we're going to talk about You Make Me Rock Hard first, and then we'll build up to the best new track on the album. So, You Make Me Rock Hard. We were driving back from getting Chinese, listening to the two new songs before doing this episode. At the beginning of the song, Paul Stanley said, "Turn it up." So I turned it up.
He did.
And then he said, "Hot lover, turn up the heat." So I turned up the heat in the car.
He did.
And Steve said, Greg, you don't need to do everything Paul Stanley says you should do.
It's true, I did.
Anyway, Paul Stanley said I should buy tickets for the End of the Road tour, so I'm going to buy tickets.
All right, I guess Greg does need to do everything Paul Stanley tells him to do.
Paul Stanley said, get down on your knees. I'm like, all right, for you, Paul. You beautiful, beautiful man. You are like the James Eha of Kiss.
Beautiful man with your Wookiee thong.
So You Make Me Rock Hard. Just tell me about your general thoughts on the song, Steve.
So, my main commentary on all of this is I feel like everything that they did in these two bonus songs, Weird Al would have done better. This is most relevant to the other song, but Weird Al definitely did do a song right about then called You Make Me, which was pretty great. And otherwise, I don't know, this was sort of a generic woo, let's party naked kind of Kiss song. They got a lot of those.
Yep.
I don't know that this one really stood out, but of the three songs that are new to this particular recording, this is probably the heaviest, so I guess it's the thrash.
Right. I think, this one has a lot of cowbell. Cowbell is always fun.
It has a lot of cowbell.
And I think what really shines about this song is that it has a really great pre-chorus. I think that is one of the best pre-choruses in the catalog. The song itself is middle-of-the-road Kiss song. It's not a bad Kiss song by any means. It's not one of their best songs, but I think that's a really great pre-chorus. I think it's really catchy, really melodic, and it's kind of awkward because it's so much better than the rest of the song, where it's just this really phenomenal pre-chorus and an otherwise decent song.
I don't remember how the pre-chorus goes.
It's the you make me sweat, you turn me around, you get me up, you never let me down. I think that melody combined with what the guitars are doing underneath it, I think it's, yes, lyrically it's just like every other Kiss song, but in terms of the melody, I think it's really strong. So I'd say that is the highlight of the piece. The video is pretty fun. We didn't watch the video, but Paul Stanley's wearing like a chainmail tank top. So, and like doing trapeze.
That's... With the amount of body hair that man has, that's a brave decision.
Paul Stanley is a brave man. He does a lot of things for art, like wearing a
chainmail bikini. I mean, tank top when he's that hairy of a man.
Yeah,
at least for now.
But do you have anything else to say about You Make Me Rock Hard? How'd you like that pun?
Yeah, the only time that it really worked for me was during the double chorus at the end when he switched the syntax up so that it actually was a verb. It was conjugated definitely as a verb at the start of the last chorus, where it was previously it was all "You make me rock hard." The last time he says I think like "Let's rock hard" or something like that.
I think he says that in every chorus. Come on, baby, let's rock hard, baby. All right.
Maybe. Yeah, all right. He said it an extra time at the top of the last chorus.
So it stood out more.
Yeah.
You're probably just distracted from listening to You Make Me Rock Hard in silence in the car with me.
I was distracted by somebody messing with all the controls in the car the entire time.
He said to turn up the song and turn up the heat. I just follow the instructions.
You know who else followed instructions?
The Nazis.
Yeah, that was going to be the answer.
As someone who is Jewish, listening to a Jewish band, yeah, all right, I shouldn't follow instructions. Paul Stanley, I'll never listen to you again. I'm going to pull a Craig Smith and sell all my Kiss collection. I'm upset.
Sounds about right.
Love you, Craig, by the way. You probably won't listen to this episode because you're done with Kiss, but White Album and Thin Lizzy. All right, so you ready to move on to Let's Put the X in Sex?
Yeah.
So the best new song on the album, according to Steve, is Let's Put the X in Sex. So, Steve, this is a song that has a bit of reputation behind it. You've heard this mentioned many a time on our podcast. You also heard Burn Bitch Burn mentioned many a time on the podcast before hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, which one was more deserving of its reputation?
All right, I'm going to bring this right back to Weird Al. Let's Put the X in Sex sounds like what you would get if in 1988 you hired Weird Al and told him, hey, write and produce a song for Kiss, and they will perform it exactly the way you tell them to. He would have produced Let's Put the X in Sex. It follows like his general production standards of being very vocal forward, very well enunciated so that you can make out all the lyrics. The narrative is the exact same sort of structure that he tends to do in his songs. The only thing that like wasn't super Weird Al about this song was the fact that the chorus lyrics didn't change.
And also that it wasn't about food.
It's true. This is a very... Yeah, and it also wasn't funny, I guess. That's part of it, too. He usually tries to...
So what you're saying, Let's Put the X in Sex wasn't hilarious?
No, it wasn't. It's just like a weird story of a dude being stalked, and then, finally she shows up at his doorstep, and he's like, all right, I guess
we're gonna bang.
I guess we're gonna bang now.
Which, that's a refreshing change of pace where it's like, it's not the guy stalking the girl, this is the guy being stalked.
Right, it's her hanging outside of his school. So,
good on Kiss for mixing it up, being progressive. They're a progressive rock band because their lyrical themes are progressive.
That is not what that means, Greg.
Well, I think that's what Drew was arguing about Gojira. Like, the lyrics are different, so it sounds progressive to me. See how much the bullshit arguments are bullshit when I try to use them?
It's true.
I'm just calling out the bullshit arguments. But yeah, you know what? This is interesting because it is a song with a narrative, which is not typically the case in Kiss songs. The narrative is usually just like, we banged and it was sweet. And that's usually the entire narrative. There actually is a plot.
There is a build-up to it.
There's a build-up to it. There's a plot structure.
I got this weird photo in the mail. We banged and it was sweet. And then she creepily called me at 2 a.m. We banged and it was sweet. And then she showed up on my doorstep. We banged and it was sweet.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a true to life story. All of us can relate to these kind of situations. I know it's happened to me. I'm sure Steve might have been home when it happened to me and he was sleeping, Sure,
it happened to all of our listeners as well.
Yeah, this is just, it's one of those coming of age stories. When you're coming at age, 33 or whoever old Paul was. Coming at age, as it were.
Just attacking age.
Yeah.
Take that age.
But, so this song gets criticized as being one of the worst songs in the Kiss catalog. Steve, do you agree with that?
No, I would say it's not among the worst of the songs. It's super cheesy, but the lyrics are less aggressively gross than a lot of other Kiss lyrics.
Well, remember, it's a Paul song.
Yeah,
that's already that's half the battle right there most of the time.
I mean, Paul's demonstrated that he can write some gross lyrics.
Paul has demonstrated that, but he doesn't do it nearly as often. You will go stretches of album.
Yeah.
Albums in a row where you don't hear a gross Paul lyric. You're like, Paul's been keeping it classy for 5 albums in a row. Geez, bang, bang you. Geez.
And then crazy nights happened.
But I think this it's a catchy, fun song. I think it's very goofy.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kiss fans don't like it because they think it's goofy, and they don't like when people are laughing at their favorite band.
Even if it's the band themselves laughing at their favorite band?
Right. But I think it's a fun song. I think it's enjoyable. I think it's musically very catchy, very competent. I think both these songs have great solos, great playing, great vocals from Paul. And so, Love Gun came on the CD right after it. Do you think Love Gun is leaps and bounds better than Let's Put the X in Sex?
I mean, this particular remix of Love Gun with the crappy extra reverb was made it kind of awful, but I guess Love Gun is...
It's a harder song.
Yeah,
pun intended.
It's sleazier, but in a less goofy way, I guess.
Yeah, so Love Gun, it's largely, they're both songs about Paul Stanley's dick and how this girl's going to get some of his dick.
Right.
But Love Gun, there is less lyric in it.
Yep.
So that, like the strong, silent type, I guess, is more attractive, I guess, than like a nerd explaining things too much.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess what happens with it is we've got this weird comedy trope that, fortunately people have started to call out more recently. We're just like, in the 70s and 80s, if a dude was the victim of sexual aggression from a woman, like, and in the context they're describing here, he's definitely being stalked. That's at worst, it's kind of considered a joke. So I feel like these songs don't necessarily age very well. So like in Love Gun, it's the male is being the aggressor, and he's, singing about like, girl, you're gonna touch my penis. Whereas in, Let's Put the X in Sex, it's, a sort of, because it is a male being victimized, and ultimately because of the way society treats these things, like at the end of it, it's somewhere between a joke and him being like, all right, this weird thing happened, but in the end it was super great because a girl touched my genitals.
So I can kind of relate to this because I had this groupie who was super into me and would like send me stuff in the mail all the time. Like I got like a $50 BP gas card and a copy of Jim Steinman's Bad for Good on vinyl. Like it was great. This chick was super into me and would send me like the photos through the mail and would like kind of hint that like, oh, I'm going to come to Nashville so I can bang you again. And you know what? Like, the stalkerish thing, it can be kind of hot sometimes. So like when it happens to you, not me stalking people, I want to like make sure I state that, but also don't stalk me now. I'm in a committed relationship and I'm happy, but I'm saying at the time I was cool with it.
I guess that's one thing that's not entirely made clear by the narrative is what is his pre-existing relationship with.
The way I interpret it is like they banged and she's like sending him sexy photos and trying to remember like, oh shoot, which hot groupie was this? I can't remember which one she was because I'm Paul Stanley and I have so many hot chicks at my beck and call.
I guess framed that way, it's a little bit less creepy. That's still one of those things like previously having had a sexual relationship with somebody does not entitle them to your affections at a future date. A lot of these things don't age very well.
But, it's Paul Stanley who's like, you know what? Fine, I'll bang you again. I'll throw you a bone. Pun intended.
Yeah, I'm sure. I guess it's slightly less bad in that context than some random stranger who managed to get his address, which is kind of what it felt like to me on first listen.
Right. But, if it's Paul Stanley, like if it's a hot chick who's like, I want to bang Paul Stanley, and it's like 1988, Paul Stanley, like, oh no, this hot chick wants to bang me. What am I going to do? What can I possibly do in this situation? I, Paul Stanley, this attractive, wealthy rock star with six-pack abs and a mansion, and this hot chick is sending me nude photos, but like with her wearing a mask and is like calling me late at night saying, I want to fuck you. What can I, Paul Stanley, do in this situation?
I don't know, probably throw some of those passed out groupies at her.
Right. So
semi-conscious groupies, attack!
And as we're discussing this is probably the reason why Let's Put the X in Sex has a bigger legacy than You Make Me Rock Hard. There's just more to dissect about it.
Yeah.
It's a goofier title. It's a catchier song. And there's the fact that there's like a narrative. This is like, what if Phil Lynott wrote a narrative about like groupies?
What if Phil Lynott wrote a Kiss song?
Right. What if Phil Lynott was like, he, got on his telephone, his rotary dial, moving the numbers like, hello, Weird Al, it's Phil. I have a great idea for a song. Come over, let's write it together. And so
we're gonna pitch it to Kiss.
Right. So Weird Al and Phil Lynott get together and they're like, this is the best song either of us have ever written. Let's call it Let's Put the X in Sex and let's give it to Kiss.
Honestly, if Al Yankovic and Phil Lynott had gotten together and written a song that Kiss performed, it probably would be one of the greatest songs in the world.
It probably would, because look, this is like, musically, Kiss is very good at this point.
Yep.
Like, undeniably, they are a tight rock band. We just listened to Crazy Nights, which Gene was actually present for. Great bass playing on that album. Paul's, vocal prime. Bruce is a great player. Eric is a great drummer. So yeah, that would have been amazing. But yeah, Let's Put the X in Sex. I don't think it's worthy of the hate it gets in the Kiss community. I think it's fun.
Let's be fair. It's not as terrible as that.
Yeah, like to say it's one of the worst things that they've ever done. I mean, maybe if you're taking Kiss completely seriously, but why are you listening to Kiss?
Scholarly interest.
Well, yeah, I think that's about all we need to say about these two songs. Would you agree, Steve?
Yeah, probably. It's the less said, the better.
All right, so Steve, where can people find us on the internet?
They can find us at lipstickgeneration.com and wherever they downloaded this podcast from.
All right, well, that's our episode. Bye.
Peace.